I'm 76 years old and I didn't figure out why my marriage fell apart when it actually ended. I figured it out way later, when it didn't matter anymore, when there was nobody left to explain it to. I'm alone while I'm saying this. That feels like part of the truth, not in a dramatic way, just factual. This is what the end of the story looks like. When you get this old, you stop lying to yourself about time. You don't think things will somehow work themselves out. You know what's done, you know what's gone for good. I'm not telling this because I'm looking for forgiveness. That ship sailed. I'm telling it because I finally understand something I spent most of my life not understanding at all. For years I told people my marriage ended because we grew apart. That's the clean version. Sounds mature, sounds mutual. But that's not really what happened. Growing apart sounds like two people drifting the same distance, just in different directions. What actually happened was quieter than that. One of us stayed. The other one slowly checked out without even realizing it. That one was me. I met my wife when I was 27. Back then I was proud of myself. I had a steady job, nothing fancy, but it paid the bills. My parents stopped worrying about me. That mattered more than I admitted. She was smart, sharp, had this dry sense of humor that made you feel like you'd earned it when she laughed. She noticed things, remembered things. I liked that she paid attention. We didn't rush. We dated like people who thought things through. We talked about money, kids, where we wanted to live. I remember thinking, yeah, this is it. Not in a fireworks way, in a solid way. She felt like someone I could build a life with. That word, build, meant a lot to me back then. Building meant moving forward, climbing, improving, doing better than last year. I just assumed love would ride along with that. The early years were good. Not movie good, real good. We argued about dumb stuff, laughed about it later. She cooked better than I did. I fixed things around the house. We felt like a team. When our first kid was born, I remember standing in the hospital hallway with a cup of awful coffee, staring at the floor, thinking, well, this just got serious. I also remember thinking I needed to be careful now, like something fragile had been handed to me. That thought didn't stick around. Life is loud when it wants to be. Work started asking for more, not all at once, just slowly turning up the volume. Stay late tonight. Take this project home. Say yes if you want to move up. I told myself I was doing it for my family. And that wasn't a lie, but it wasn't the whole truth either. I liked being needed at work. I liked being good at something people respected. I liked walking into a room and feeling useful. Those things don't feel dangerous while they're happening. At home, life kept moving. Dinner, homework, baths, bedtime, I was there technically. I was present in the way a coat rack is present, always in the room, never involved. I didn't notice anything wrong because nothing exploded. Nobody yelled, nobody cheated, nobody packed bags in the middle of the night. Everything just got thinner. Conversations got shorter, not colder, just shorter. How was your day? Same as always. What time are you leaving tomorrow? Early. I told myself that's just how long marriages work. That comfort replaces excitement. That quiet means everything's fine. What I didn't understand was that quiet can also mean someone's giving up. And those two things sound almost identical if you're not listening. She started doing more stuff on her own. Normal stuff. Walking in the evenings, meeting a friend for coffee, reading in the other room. I saw it and thought, good. She's independent. I didn't ask what she was reading. Didn't ask what she talked about with her friend. Didn't ask because I was tired. And because I figured there'd be time later. I always thought there'd be more time. There were moments. Small ones. I see them now. Her saying she felt lonely and me immediately trying to fix it instead of hearing it. Her sighing when I walked in late again, and me thinking a quick kiss would smooth it over. Her stopping mid-sentence sometimes like she decided it wasn't worth finishing. Those moments barely registered back then. Now they sit heavy. We raised our kids. We showed up when it mattered. Graduations, holidays, family photos. From the outside, we looked solid, like the kind of couple people expected to grow old together. Inside, something was wearing down quietly. I never stopped loving her. I want that to be clear. But I started loving her the way you love something you assume will always be there, like the floor under your feet. You don't look at it, you just trust it won't disappear. Years passed like that. A lot of them. The day she finally said she was unhappy wasn't dramatic at all. We were sitting at the kitchen table. Kids were grown and gone. She didn't yell, she didn't cry. She said very calmly, "I don't think you really see me anymore." I remember being honestly confused. Not mad, not defensive, just confused. I said, "What do you mean?" And she tried to explain. She talked about feeling alone even when I was right there, about conversations that never went anywhere, about carrying the emotional weight of the marriage by herself. I listened, but I listened like a guy at work listening to feedback. I was already thinking about solutions, changes, adjustments. I didn't hear the sadness underneath it. I told her I'd do better, and I meant it. That's the part people don't talk about much. Most of us mean it when we say it. For a while, I actually tried. I came home earlier some nights, asked more questions, put my phone down at the table. I treated it like a project, like something I could get back on track if I paid enough attention for a few weeks. But effort that comes from panic doesn't last, and once things felt okay again, I slid right back into who I'd always been. She noticed. I didn't. What I didn't understand back then was that when someone finally says they're lonely, they're already tired. They didn't just wake up that morning feeling that way. They've been feeling it for years. By the time I started trying, she was already halfway gone. We talked more after that conversation, or at least we talked longer. But something had shifted. Her voice was calmer, less hopeful, like she wasn't trying to convince me anymore. She'd say things like, "I don't want to keep asking," or, "I don't want to feel like a reminder." Those words should have scared me. They didn't. I thought we were just going through a rough patch. I kept thinking we'd get past it, that we always had before. Then one night she said she didn't want to do this anymore. No shouting, no bags packed, just that. She said she didn't want to spend the rest of her life feeling invisible. She said she'd tried to tell me. She said she was tired. I remember sitting there staring at the table, realizing I had nothing useful to say. No big defense, no dramatic apology that could fix it. There wasn't one thing I could point to and say, "That's not true." That's when it hit me. Not all at once, but hard enough. I hadn't ruined the marriage. I'd worn it down. We divorced quietly. People say amicably, like that makes it easier. It just means nobody screamed. We split things fairly. We stayed polite. We checked in on the kids. From the outside, it probably looked like we handled it well. Inside, I felt like I'd missed something important and didn't know when. Life kept moving. Work slowed down eventually. The kids built their own lives. I dated a little. Nothing serious. I told myself I was fine, and most days I believed it. But there was always this low hum in the background, like a radio you can't quite turn off. Years later, she got sick. I went to see her in the hospital. She looked smaller. Still herself, though. We talked easily, in a way that surprised me. No tension, no history hanging in the air. At one point, she looked at me and said something I still hear clearly. "You were never mean," she said. "You were just gone." She didn't say it angry. She didn't say it to hurt me. She said it like a fact she'd already made peace with. That sentence changed everything for me. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't abusive. I wasn't unfaithful. I was absent. I had chosen what felt urgent over what actually mattered. again and again, without realizing the cost. I treated time like something I'd always have more of. I treated her presence like something guaranteed. I thought being reliable was enough. I thought showing up physically counted as showing up. I was wrong. When she died, there was no big moment, no final conversation where everything made sense, just a quiet ending. Standing at her funeral, I realized something else that hurt in a different way. I wasn't the center of her story anymore. I hadn't been for a long time. And that was fair. At 76, you don't get many new realizations. Mostly you just finally understand the old ones. My marriage didn't fall apart because we stopped loving each other. It fell apart because I assumed love could survive neglect. Some things can be fixed. Some things can be apologized for. And some things just run out of time. I can't go back and listen better. I can't sit at that kitchen table with the understanding I have now. That's the part that stays heavy. If you're listening to this and you're younger, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I don't believe in lectures anymore. I'll just tell you what I wish I'd known. Being dependable isn't the same as being present. Providing isn't the same as paying attention. And love doesn't disappear all at once. It fades when it's taken for granted. If someone you care about is trying to talk to you, don't assume there'll be a better time. Most of the time, that moment is the only one you get. I thought I was building a life. What I didn't realize was that life is built in the quiet, ordinary moments you think don't matter. Now I have a lot of quiet, more than I ever planned for. Some of it is peaceful. Some of it still hurts. I live with both. This isn't advice, it's just the truth as clearly as I can finally see it. And that's all I have left to say.